Good afternoon, folks. Quiet down, Thoth. Welcome back to the Smite Pro League. My name's Tom, and that's Totally TNT. We're dynamite. We've got our second European matchup coming for you. It's going to be NRG versus Mouse, and I just want to start this conversation off, Totally, by saying I love Mouse. I love watching these guys play.
They definitely have an interesting style that they bring to the table, and up against NRG, a team that's looking very dominant here. They defeated Dignitas earlier on this week, and they're looking at the top of the standings. Could get dethroned here if Rival win both of their sets, however, today.
Yeah, Mouse have the back-to-back, the doubleheader as we call it. NRG will be their first opposition. Then you also mentioned the team Rival, and I like this team a lot because they've been sort of in the forefront of teams that are breaking the meta or playing the jank or whatever phrase that you want to use. They're weird, but most importantly, they've always been this weird. They've embraced themselves. Dardez has been playing Nox support since forever, so it's not like they just said, oh, well, everybody's picking jank, so we'll join. They've been leading this train from the beginning.
That's very true. Just running the triple Guardian double physical hunter composition when they were known as Elevate in Season 4, now making this transition here to Mousesports. Still trying to run it every now and then, but the last time I think they ran triple physical warrior frontline instead of Guardian, which is a big difference, and it didn't really work out from that time.
Right, and as I watch Mouse, I think one of the nice things that I like about this team is the fact that, one, they have committed to their playstyle. They understand that they're going to play the jank, but that doesn't mean that they're afraid of playing the traditional meta. And as well, this team also has stuck to their guns. They haven't been winning, but they still do what they do. Mouse is a team to watch out for. The Mouse fan base has to be the most frustrated fan base in all of Smite history. Look at this roster. This team's supposed to win. Dardez, Jermain, these guys have been the Bruise Brothers back to Les Mimodons. These guys are supposed to bring it, and they're just not. Something has to go. I like Mouse. I really like what they're doing. They're pulling out nice stuff. They understand what they are, but they're not understanding how to win.
Formerly Les Myrmidon Bruise Brothers, separating themselves from Get Fisher, now in the SPL, showing us true stuff and potential here. Definitely has potential, but the question is, can they really combat against a dominant NRG squad here today?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I actually might be sure. I think I know the answer. NRG has been on top, but Cherryo has been a difference maker for a long, long time. The player out of Egypt has been playing in the jungle and even in the support role and has been very, very strong. Unfortunately, he's one of these players that I think always transcends his team. He looks like one of the better players in the world sometimes, Anatoly, but really just doesn't find himself on the stronger end teams.
I mean, he's known as the Lanimal. Gets a lot of respect bans whenever he shows up to the lands, whether it's his Hunbat, his Najai, or even can go back to his Kabrakan every now and then. And he's going to be up against adapting, so that'll be your player cam perspective.
Yeah, it's should be very interesting. Like I said, Cherryo brings a whole lot of different things to the game, and he can be very dynamic. We mentioned how he likes to play those frontliners. It's more about the control than the tankiness. He likes to set up for his teammates. Hopefully, we do see a little bit more of a transition. Mouse, however, they're going to be going up against NRG. What can you tell us about the pink and white?
I think specifically about NRG is that they're hungry now in Season 5. They definitely took a lot to the heart in Season 4 towards the ending when they realized that going up into Worlds, they lost to Rival, they got dethroned, and heading in now to Season 5, they look stronger than ever.
And so as we glance towards this one, NRG, like you said, they've got that new support. EmilZy has been a really big part of what NRG wants to do, but at the end of the day, NRG's just NRG. The results are in. If you wanted to know who won the support trade, answer NRG. EmilZy has fitted with the 4 guys in this squad absolutely perfectly. A little bit of growing pains, but we don't see it if we look at the standings. NRG right now are working on all cylinders. They look like the NRG from once upon a time.
Adapting here on NRG's squad is definitely the frontline runner, but now it's also EmilZy here right beside him that I definitely earned a lot of respect in his transition.
Yeah, I mean, EmilZy's been fantastic sort of to watch inside and outside of the lines, putting out content and performing on the battlefield and adapting, just helping out that support. Don't forget, you're going to be able to watch Adapting and Cherryo on our auxiliary streams, but also we're just co-streaming. So you can actually just tune in, and we're going to have all 3 right there. You can pick and choose as you like, but we've set up the buffet, so you can go ahead and dive in.
I mean, who do you even ban against adapting? He has a 12.1 KDA, and there's just too many good assassins here in Season 5 to worry about this man on your screen.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem with adapting, is that you can't really ban his characters that he's good at. You have to ban strategies that you don't like. So if you are going to be playing those the 3 tank 2 carry, then you ban out the Nemesis. If you're going to be playing characters that you want a little bit more control of, then or you're going to be playing healers, then you ban out the Serqet. You're not going to win by banning out a character that this guy plays well, because he plays them all well. You got to ban out strategies when it comes to adapting.
And depending on what they want to survive with, I think that Mousesports might ban away the Serqet specifically. They're going to probably prioritize the Yanas for themselves, knowing that Cherryo really likes it in the jungle as well.
It absolutely could be. Picks and bans right here for NRG versus Mouse. As we take a glance at the splash, we'll see that Mouse will be the first pick. And, of course, the first ban, NRG, have the answer back with 2 picks at once. So the bans, like you said, NRG, I do expect to see that Giannis ban out. But Mouse are going to start here by taking Soul away. And I love that ban.
It wouldn't surprise me if they add a Chronos to that as well. The magical hunters for NRG have been really working out. Soul in Season 2 for Epsilon, and then the NRG Chronos skin. There's a reason why they have those skins.
Well, the Thoth will be the ban of choice for Mouse, and I want to see where the Nuwa winds up in this world. NRG has been really, really leaning on that Nuwa, not just in the mid lane, but surprisingly, Emil over there in the long lane has been playing it in the hunter role, and that's why I think we see the first pick Nuwa.
A lot of flexibility with this pick. I wouldn't even be surprised, honestly, if Dardez is the one to pilot this Nuwa, knowing that he'll play the Nox every now and then as well.
I think a little less control on that character than some of the choices.
Though.
Actually,
the root.
The reliable root. That's actually very true, Anatoly. Terra and Serqet will be chosen for NRG. And yeah, Serqet's one of those hard carries that you got to watch out for.
It's going to be very easy for adapting to gank anybody that he really wants to. Solo laners, sometimes you would ignore ganking them, but not if you're Serqet. That true damage from the last breath, too strong.
So with the Xing Chen pickup, I'm curious how this character works into the Serqet, because the Serqet's going to shut down the healing, right? But Xing Chen has consistent HP 5, so it'll be shut down when he's true breath, but is the Xing Chen a good pick into Serqet?
I think so, because you have the double jump, so as long as you still have that on cooldown after the second ability, Corvus Kiss, and after the last breath, then you should be able to disengage. Don't forget also the washing machine, that's so important.
Yeah, the ultimate is really nice. It does take a long time to get going, but Serqet will be able to get away from it. Isis, a little bit less so. But I have begun to love this character. There's your Chronos ban. We saw Isis have an identity once upon a time for the majority of Smite's lifespan, actually, as this early game mage that clears very well. She does that, but I think a lot of mages do that. What Isis is now about is that mid-game, when she's got 5 points in her Spirit Ball and her Wing Gust, she's a monster, and I think that's why we're seeing more Isis.
It's also going to allow for more teamfight control between those two CCs. Also, a good damage mitigation with the Circle of Protection. The pop heal with Terra's Monolith, so you get double sustain in that aspect. So NRG, they got the damage, they got the sustain, and they got also the utility CCs.
I love watching a team pick and ban when I can see their thought strategy. They knew, so NRG knew that they were going to go for the Artemis before they were done with the ban phase. They were discussing the selection. I've brought up a number of times that the late game hunters are the flavor of the month right now, and Artemis is picked in tandem with the Odin ban, making sure that she can't get locked up.
Making sure that they also don't have to go into the Phantom for whatever reason. Cripple would be a little bit annoying against NRG, but this last pick, Agni, great teamfight potential here. The bombs over the wall. Cerberus is going to be the last selection for NRG. Double Guardian composition out of them.
And looking at what Mouse is bringing, you mentioned it, Nuwa, kind of tongue-in-cheek, but I think we are going to see the mage support. Dardez did it last week, and we just might see another Agni in that support lane. Mouse versus NRG. Bring us the game, please.
Tom and Tolly, I'd be happy to. Finch and Graham here with you. We're going to be bringing you Mousesports going up against NRG. And Graham, are you
I feel like Taco. You are. I've not been on cast with you where you've been standing together. Look at it. I look like Taco.
Way up here.
I'm tiny.
Down there.
Yeah, I'm ready for the game. Sorry.
Yeah, we're ready to go into
really
game
distracted by
one.
how tall I was.
NRG and Mouse. That first set was a kind of a bit of a stomp, I might say. Maybe not stomp, but it wasn't as competitive as maybe we'd be expecting. So after seeing that, do you think Game 2 is going to be any closer, chat? I want to hear from you in Mixer chat. Who's going to win, NRG or Mouse? Mouse or NRG?
I think the easiest option is definitely going to be NRG here with how their performances have been so far. Let's be honest. I mean, Dignitas...
Do you really want to vote with Graham, chat?
Yeah, go against me, chat. That's okay. Go against me. Enjoy losing.
Enjoy losing.
I mean, you never know. Mouse might turn something up. They've got an actual composition here, though.
I like Mouse's composition here. I do. It is going to be Dardez, though, playing the Ravana support, which you don't get to see a whole lot of here, Graham.
Sure.
I got to imagine that this is just so they can let Nika be over in the solo lane with the Xing and play that one comfortably, and then let Dardez try and find those mystic rushes or the roots.
Dardez just doesn't play supports.
Maybe that's it, yeah.
He decides what is a support is what it seems to be. Now, but Ravana is definitely viable. He's got escape, he's got engage, he's got increased damage to targets. He's going to do a lot for the team that's going to be helpful for him. The root definitely going to be useful as well. And one thing you don't want to do is invest any damage into a support if you can help it. But Dardez is going to force you to do that, otherwise he's not going to get off your face.
Yeah, it looks like he is going to be going with that guard against Blessing to get things started too, so he is going to be at least beginning his build a little bit more traditionally like the supports want to do.
He generally does that, though. I mean, he does go for the support options.
That's true.
He'll still get the auras and things. He'll just play with a support mentality a little bit more of the time.
But it's one thing on a Nox who has a root and a silence, but on the Ravana as well. It seems like chat seems to think NRG's going to win. Was it something about their 2 world championships that made them believe in him, Graham? What is it?
Maybe.
Yeah.
But it's a different team now. Technically, they've not got the whole roster anymore. They've had a couple of changes since they won a world championship, if you think about it. No Maniac. Maniac wasn't there. It was good old Ninja, Dimmy.
I miss Dimmy. Dimmy was cool.
And then on top of that, you've also got, the other one. Hang on a second, left-hand side. What's going on there?
On the left-hand side, looks like they're going in pretty deep,
Proxy.
Jermain and Dardez. And they
Proxy.
were indeed trying to proxy. That's because it's emilZy by himself over here. They've put emilitoo over on the mid to try and help them clear out just a little bit faster. So they're going to let emilZy hold this by himself.
Now, what emilZy was trying to do there was trying to slow down the engagement if they can, just trying to make sure it didn't lose too much overall. But it's going to allow him to look for
the
purple.
rotation. The rotation's happening. Going to look for the slow. Doesn't have the dash.
down.
Can only get the monolith instead. Going to rely on the sprint to try and help them catch up. The dash is here with the Deathbane from adapting, and he's doing all the damage with the in-hand. They only need one more hit, and of course adapting finds it. First blood going the way of the jungler for NRG.
Notice that everybody was just level 1 there too. Both of the energy, both emilitoo and adapting came over at level 1. They didn't have that much CC in the kit there, Finch, but what did happen is that the panic of the beads, the speed buff alone on adapting on Serqet. Speed buff is such a massive amount of mobility that just allowed him to run him down and pick him up.
They also got that sprint coming out from emilZy to help them out as well, so they can continue the chase, and that helped them out get first blood on a pretty good target. Jermain is not playing your normal hunter over here. He's on that new Wah pick in the duo lane. Nothing very traditional about this Jermain Dardez duo lane this game, and already it's a little bit behind.
Well, they're still trying to contest this purple now, but they've got to be respectful here. Jermain, no beads, just looking to try and steal it over the wall. Can't find it, unfortunately. Jermain just trying to get some experience. And the new Wah, though, we've seen a couple of times in the Hunter role this season already, John, and it's not...
That's true.
It's not something too crazy now. Yeah, it's easy to farm up in this lane, play safe, and then still... I see it as a Neef, almost. Like Neef with the ultimate across the map, same thing.
Even less aiming, though.
But even safer is the best way you can put it too, because she's got a little bit easier to get away. But crits like that from emilitoo will cause problems.
And it is scary already as Dardez is brought down to half health in this dual lane by the pressure between emilitoo and emilZy. And we're seeing this Artemis pick start to come up again more often. Might not even have a chance to talk about it as Cobra's Kiss doesn't land. Adapting gets stunned out there by the pressure for BigManTingz and has to back up.
Yeah, Ting's stun was actually really nice there. Flame Wave into the Noxious Fume, something that's a little bit easier to land in the latest seasons with the changes to Agni. You could do it before, but it was a lot more tricky to make sure it connected. This time, a lot easier.
Dardez looking for the root, but emilZy going to continue dashing forward, getting the slow out as well as emilitoo. Only needs to land a couple more shots, but moving up forward is going to be Jermain to make that even harder. Lands the root too, so Shining Metal gets a good bit of damage, but turns around and finds more on a Dardez.
There's nothing better than watching a good hunter play, especially like emilitoo, because what he'll do is he won't just fire the auto on cooldown. He's not holding left click. Right. He's actually timing his left click choices of when he's going to fire the auto, because it does slow your character down when you do that. So making sure you're in range to guarantee the hit, aim it better, make sure that you see how they're going to juke, because Guardians and supports generally will be like, okay, I know the timing of the auto. So if you're like auto and then you juke because you know the next auto's coming, you can get away from it more. By delaying it as a hunter, it means you're not going to juke as much.
That's right. It makes it that much easier to find those autos, and you're very right to point out that when you avoid slowing yourself by just holding down those auto attacks. You can actually stay just that little bit closer and help to find those kills.
Especially when they're juking as well, Finch. Because if you juke, you're not going to move as fast as you can by just running in a straight line. So ends up becoming a detriment to the character there.
Purple buff getting invaded on yet again by NRG, and that's what their lane pressure and the early rotation from adapting have netted for them over in the duo lane, Graham, as they strip that purple buff away, and Dardez has to back already.
Yeah, it's a good start for NRG. The only difference is, though, he's kind of delayed adapting, getting to level 5 a little bit quicker. He's just hit level 5 now, mind. So he should be, this will be the time where we start to see him turn up now on this Serqet. He's one of the most dangerous Serqet players in the world. Him and Cuvo Fred, you saw them bounce against each other last week. Well, this week, this game, I should say, is adapting's just going to be looking for kills all the time.
And we saw him start off the game doing exactly that, rotating over to the dual lane, finding the kill, and putting Jermain a little bit further behind emilitoo. And emilitoo has not let up on that pressure since. They're continuing to stay at the tower line as Whirlwind of Rage and Steel comes out, pushing maniaKK back towards the tower line. But I don't think Cerberus is really that concerned as the boar has come out and actually chunks Jermain a good bit.
Just needed that one hit potentially from emilitoo to find the kill there on Jermain again. The boar and the fog combined nicely in a weird way to make sure emilitoo couldn't find it. Jermain forced back to base again, though. The dual lane for NRG are off to a great start.
Going to be off to a good start already. I said earlier, as Dardez continues to get poked out, that it was that he was backing already, but he hadn't backed at all yet. Really had Dardez. He instead goes back and looks for a little bit of extra movement speed, which is something that we see be a little bit more popular here on these supports lately.
Yeah, Talari is always going to be one of those that's always a go-to anyway. Not just because of the extra movement speed, which is great for getting your support around the map to find the farm that's so hard to find as a support, but it's also because of the mana regen.
Yeah.
You don't want to be investing too much into mana potions, and the MP5 that you get from these boots allows them to stay in the game longer, in tow with the Guardian's blessing, of course.
Yeah, and you can see that Jermain has been pressured out over in that dual lane. Dardez ticking over to level 5, a little bit ahead of his Hunter. Not something that you see that often. Looks like, though, they'll have a chance to be here for the spawn of their purple buff this time, Graham, and they'll grab that one for themselves. But NRG are kind of on this side of the map. Adapting is at those oracles, and will grab those for himself. So he is on that path now towards them, and Dardez is looking to back.
Well, just keep an eye on the neutral objectives. Although with Jermain being here alone, like you said, this could be trouble.
This could be trouble. Cobra's Kiss comes out, pulls him back in. Deathbane and EmilZy, good guy EmilZy, going to grab that one for himself.
Notice the beads were still on cooldown there more than anything else, so there was nothing really Jermain could do. No ultimate available, wasn't level 5 yet, so doesn't have the fire shards to try and buy himself a small window. I do like what Mouse is doing on the right-hand side, though. Cherryo trying to invade to punish adapting being on the left-hand side of the map, but then again, NRG trying to punish that situation by looking at the gold.
They are looking at the gold frame. Look how they're juggling the aggro so no one gets hit by it too often. They're not exactly blowing through this gold fury, but no one from Mouse seems to have suspected this might be happening. NRG are just going to get to take this gold fury away relatively for free and not even particularly quickly.
A little bit risky to do that, but NRG just knowing the situation they're in. Dardez was in lane shown on the map. They also had vision on the right-hand side of the map of Cherryo being on that side. So they're like, well, let's do this and see if we get a response. If a Fear No Evil turns up there, there's possibly 2 members of NRG dead, but they know they're relatively safe to do that.
Plus, Yammyn didn't rotate to that. If Isis is missing off the map and an early Gold Fury is missing, you're thinking Circle of Protection, they want it.
Really good point.
Yammyn showing himself, you probably don't think they're taking it.
Yeah, especially when you look at the characters. I mean, early game Artemis, early game Terra, early game Serqet. Like,
right.
Not too worried, but you should be.
Apparently, and it ends up getting taken away. NRG pushed their gold lead up to almost 2,000 already. We're only 7.5 minutes into this one, and adapting, pushing this pressure on the duo side has already worked out for them in the form of a gold fury and a couple early kills.
And that's why Cherryo's looking right now, trying to make something happen. Fear No Evil goes off. Great response from maniaKK, but maniaKK's still in trouble.
Whirlwind of Rage and Steel is going to push him down. Fire Shards did come out to try and help them find this kill, and that little bit of extra damage was enough.
Yammyn.
But Yammyn is able to find Dardez there in the mid lane with a little bit of help.
Yeah, it collapsed onto Dardez, who was looking for a bit of aggression, I would say, but not too much because he didn't use his ultimate, but he didn't get time to. Obviously, we didn't get to see the kill, but I'm guessing Yammyn's silence had something to do with that.
Yeah, it's Isis has a bunch of control, Graham, so I mean, I bet that he had him locked down a little bit between the stun, between the silence. Wasn't really room for Dardez to do much of anything, and he ends up falling.
Rough situation now for Mousesports in the early game. If they can weather the storm, though, Finch, they're not too bad as the game goes on. Although they are against emilitoo on that Artemis.
Going for the dive underneath the tier 1 tower. Didn't hit with the slow, but the dash still hits for plenty of damage. Mystic Rush is going to land on top, and a little bit of help from BigManTingz is going to be more than enough. Dashes aggressively, finds the stun. Now they're trying to line it up for EmilZy to find themselves a double kill in the duo lane. EmilZy with the heads-up awareness to at least trade his life away, though, and takes down Jermain.
Hey, but Jermain's not worth anything, so it's not
That's true.
Great in the grand scheme of things. NRG were trying to capitalize on the advantage they'd already got. They'd put the pressure onto Mouse early. They were finding rotations and like, we have dumpstered the duo lane. Let's dumpster them some more because we can. Problem is that they overextended, and they pay the price. 2 members fall, which means it helps out Mousesports in the grand scheme of things.
And that's interesting. If I had said that a gank over the duo lane helped Mouse relieve some of that pressure, you'd have thought it was Cherryo, I imagine.
Sure.
But it was BigManTingz making the rotation over and helping out. It was a bit of an overcommit, so it was easier for him, but BigManTingz coming over with the bombs, with the stun after the dash, recognizing that they had the chance onto EmilZy, big play.
And I thought was talking about it in the last set we recasted. I mean, when there's fights going on the right-hand side, you generally will see fights on the left at the same time because you know where people are. Are they going to be impacting this fight? No, the jungler's not here, so let's go on the left-hand side. Jungler should be responding to the overaction that's going on.
Ended up going in their favor. Cherryo, though, is going to look at the solo lane yet again. They do have 1 kill onto maniaKK, and now they're here to potentially set up a second one. Stygian Torment comes out. It is going to pull in Nika, who responds with his own ultimate, hits nobody, and now Adapting's here, but the Fear No Evil is perfect to peel.
Beautiful Fear No Evil from Cherryo. He's going to be able to get away for now. The walls didn't find there from EmilZy, but that Fear No Evil was so nice to make sure Nika could get out of danger. Yes, he was going under the tower. There was no stopping that. Nika could have potentially ulted as the Cerberus ult came through, but holding it meant that he could potentially pick him up and drag him back into an awkward position. And nice little place from both.
That's what he was looking for. Instead of ulting to save himself, ulting to help try and keep the fight going. Didn't end up working out, but you could see where the mindset was from Nika in that fight, and I like it. This is the one part of the map where they have a bit of a lead for themselves, is in that solo lane where Nika's a little bit ahead of maniaKK. BigManTingz is even with Yammyn, who hasn't been rotating as much as everyone else, so they're trying to play towards those leads.
Yeah, and the reason Nika's really ahead there, yes, they did get that kill onto maniaKK, but also it's because of the teleport. Teleport means you get back to lane a little bit quicker, can farm a little bit more, and by the time you've rotated back to your lane manually by just walking down the lane, you may have lost a camp in the jungle, or just, you know, 1 buff behind, that sort of thing.
Does mean now that maniaKK enjoys for himself a nice, or rather Nika enjoys himself a little bit of a lead over there in the solo lane.
Experience, yeah. Gold, not so much. You can see the breastplate of Valor being worked on by maniaKK. More than likely a breastplate, I should say. But that's already been worked on by maniaKK, which shows that gold is definitely okay for him.
Mid Harpies going to be going the way of NRG, grabbed by actually 3 members. Yammyn was there, EmilZy was there. Looks like they even had an adapting there with them as well in the jungle. So they're going to take all that and head back towards their speed. They don't even know what to do with themselves. They're just kind of roving around the jungle looking for farm.
Look at the map, Finch. What do you take?
There's nothing up.
There's only the speed buff coming up, so we all want to kind of rotate there because everyone's fighting for farm. That's kind of what a game is. Fight for farm, but try and give it to the right characters wherever possible when there's an opportunity.
Gold Fury is about to spawn in 3 seconds, though. NRG has shown us that they're not afraid to just go start that up, even if they're all low, and juggle the aggro between them. So it certainly could be an option now that Isis is up and has a circle of protection available.
He seems to be right, Finch. They've already grouped it up around there already.
Good
Dardez going to get walled. Not going to get away from this danger right now. Overhead kick already used, but Dardez has to ult defensively.
He's going to get out of there, and now the rest of NRG can turn their attention back towards the Oracles, and that's going to be the call.
I don't know what the ult was for.
Fire Shards at least lets them know where they are.
Get out. No, that's an awful ult. I don't even know why he was doing that. Like, this what's going to happen then? No one's going to die, A. And B, you know, worst case scenario, they're on the Gold Fury, but the Gold Fury won't be low because they'd only just started it. Like, what's the point? Wasted.
They are where we thought they were, is what Jermain was able to confirm.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was like, why do that? There's no point.
With the ultimates, though. NRG end up not going for it. They just take the Oracles, and some vision, yes, but they want to grab that farm for themselves, catch any potential rotations, and they've got that now, and back up before starting any fights. But despite how the early lead started, it's kind of plateaued a little bit. It really kind of seems like it hasn't grown any since then.
And a lot of that is because of that dual lane gang that we saw NRG go for. EmilZy wrapping around the tier 1 tower. Those two falling down kind of slowed down what NRG had going there in that lane. They've allowed Jermain to catch up quite a bit, significantly, if you think about it. He was level 3 to 5 at one point, but it's only 10 to 11 right now. 11 to 11, Jermain's caught up.
Yeah, the experience is all but even, at least map-wide. And if you want to talk about a God, who's behind, can still clear the wave safely. It probably is Nuwa between the fog and that shining metal, so able to get whatever farm he could until he was able to catch back up, and now he's right here with emilitoo.
At this point, once you get the fog, a couple of points in the fog, as well as the Warlock staff stacking up, your fog can clear the wave on its own. Like, you don't have to worry about it. It'll just slowly tick down the minions, and you can walk away to go farm somewhere else. So it's very easy to catch up on it. One of the reasons we see more of this Nuwa.
And Nuwa been very safe for him, not just with the safe clear, but safe when she's the one that gets aggressed on by some of these junglers that we're seeing so much of lately as Cherryo steps forward here in the jungle.
Yeah, but John, we talk a lot about, you know, the Nuwa because emilitoo was the one that brought it into fruition in the Pro League. If you're going to bring out a god, right, you definitely don't want to do it against the person that's been doing it first because they should know what the answer is. You know what I mean? Like, emilitoo picked the Artemis. So does that tell you that he knows how to do it? Is Artemis great against Nuwa? Maybe it is. Maybe that's the reason.
emilitoo certainly is comfortable on the Artemis pick, and I wanted to talk about it a little bit earlier. We're seeing more of this Artemis pick now than we had been before. Is it just because the games are going later? Is it just because Artemis is strong in lane right now, or?
Funny enough, I think it's actually some of it is due to down lane pressure and how lanes have changed this season. Season 4, it was 1v1s, right? Artemis in a 1v1, her clear's a little bit susceptible to problems. She also doesn't have a natural escape in her kit. But in a 2v2, that's a different scenario. You've got a little bit of extra support, extra wave clear, extra survivability with that teammate being alongside you. So it does allow them, even Jabalanke is back because of the same sort of reasons.
Damage coming out from BigManTingz in the jungle. Going to drop that onto Adapting, who's going to be okay with it. 1-0-2. These two junglers, aside from Cherryo's attempts in the solo lane, we haven't really seen either one of them start up just yet, but they've got their second relics now. The blink so they can cover the distance, the beads so they can make it back out. It's relatively safe for them to start engaging, so I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see that happen soon, especially if they both just finished up their respective power spikes.
It is, but it's kind of hard for both these junglers to really gank. I mean, if anything, it's easier for Cherryo to look towards Isis in the mid lane for the pick, whereas if you look at what Adapting's kind of got to work with, a Nuwa now with beads and Aegis and the ultimate, hard to lock her down and pin her. Do you want to go and gank Nika on a Xing 10 and waste stuff over there? You potentially can, but you only got a Cerberus for follow-up, and if one small mistake goes wrong with the ability chain, he's out.
That would be all that it would take for them to be able to escape, but so far, Mouse, despite the early pressure, have been able to hang very close here with NRG, who've looked strong again. A bit of a resurgence of NRG. If you recall, towards the end of Season 4, they weren't looking like themselves. They kind of came back to the gauntlet and looked good again. And
this roster change. This roster change has done a lot of good for them, I think, more than anything else. Everybody, when EmilZy and Rafa switched teams from Obey to NRG, everyone kind of had the same opinion of it's probably NRG is going to be the team that struggles. It's not, it's Obey.
Yeah.
But one of the two teams were guaranteed to struggle. I think everyone's just educated opinion with how NRG looked last year, that NRG probably would be the ones that struggle. It's not the case. They seem to have just found the love, the passion that they had previously. I don't think NRG had the same passion last year as they've had the previous 2 years they won the World Championships.
It can be kind of hard when you're just winning all the time, to be fair. I don't want to imply that.
Now they've got something to prove because they're not #1 in EU. They've not been #1 in EU for almost a year now.
Yeah.
The likes of Dig and Rival have been on their heels all year long, and this year is the year to prove it again, especially with Rafa now not on this team, that they can still be the best in the world, and they're still great players.
And they're looking like it so far. You mentioned Dig. Despite them having their struggles, Dignitas is kind of back, at least in the online form as well, so there's tons of competition. That's why all these sets are so important. NRG have to make sure to stay close to the top, that they keep finding these wins.
And you mentioned Dig. That's the thing they've got to prove this year is their LAN performances. Yeah. Dig's on LAN performances. Sure, they were amazing all last year. Their LAN performance, we've got a couple of issues there, you know?
Yeah.
That's where we get to check them out. We do get to check Rival out so far this year, though, Finch, where their online performances haven't been as good as their LAN performances. Different story this year, though. Rival have stepped up, too.
They're looking more consistent, and it feels crowded up near the top of EU right now between Dig, Rival, and NRG. Yeah. And these kind of sets, making sure that you clean up the ones where, on paper, NRG's supposed to win this one. Certainly, I mean, Mouse can, but when you're looking at the schedule, NRG probably expected this one as a win. So they got to make sure that they close these out and do it clean.
Can't drop games like this. Jermain's going to ult early here, and I like this ult. This one's a bit better. You've not got vision on the map. You don't know where everybody is. Find out how low that Gold Fury is or where they are positioned. Are they doing it? And they were.
Ultimate is going to come out from EmilZy. They end up meeting the Fear No Evil that was used more defensively than anything by Cherryo. Big team fighting ultimates down. Staging Torment forces the beads out from BigManTingz. Again, patience from this NRG roster is slowly whittling away at Mouse.
BigManTingz doing a lot of work on the back line, though, just trying to get the damage off. But Yammyn cleans up Nika with the circle of protection. Doesn't always need it for the Gold Fury, Finch.
He ends up getting some backup from Yammyn. They don't find the kill, but brings him low, adapting in the end with that poison damage, able to find it. Stun, ends up hitting to set up emilitoo for a little more damage. He's under the tier 2 tower looking for more. Is able to egg us away the damage from BigManTingz. All 5 members of NRG might be low, but they're still alive, and they're looking for the gold.
And now with this, it should be free Gold Fury. There's nothing really Mouse can do about this one. Only Jermain around to do anything. I will say, I like Mouse's adjustment to putting Big Man on mages in mid lane. Like, start with the shenanigans. Sure, it may work. But Big Man's got to settle into this role, first of all. I said this at the start of the season. Big Man's got to step into a role where the likes of Yammyn, Lobster, Pretty Prime, Wolfie, like just name those big mid-lane mages. This is a rough role to sit in. And you're trying to put him on Chax? No! Give him a mage. Let him get comfortable. And he's Agni so far this game. And that's been really solid.
That's to say nothing of the junglers you have to deal with when you're the mid-mage too. I mean, this is
exactly
Ice and Adapting are out here in the jungle. Twig, and Cuvo. So it is very scary. There's a lot of really strong talent here in Europe, and BigManTingz does need to sort of come into his own a little bit in that mid role. And I agree, he's looked good on this Agni so far. In that last fight, NRG whittled them down, though, Graham, and they were able to be the ones to come out on top, take the Gold Fury, and 3 kills.
And some of that is sustain. Take that into account. Terra's got a little bit of sustain in the kit, so does Isis, as does maniaKK. Actually prevents sustain in a lot of ways, and has some in his kit, obviously, as well. So that does factor in a little bit, but this is just NRG knowing how to teamfight just a little bit better. Just a little bit better with their composition, whereas Mouse, I feel they test these comps out in scrims, and they do work, and that's why they want to bring them to fruition. But I don't think there's enough testing that's going into these to make them work and function as they should, to make them really a cohesive unit.
Well, Totally said it earlier, and it's the margin for error. It's the composition can work, but it almost has to be perfect for the ones that Mouse drafts for them to work. NRG can afford to, dive under a tier 1 in 5 minutes in and give up a couple kills, and their comp can recover. Is it the same for some of these drafts that Mouse goes with? I don't think so.
It is, but it's a lot trickier. It's a lot trickier. The ways of errors, the amount of errors that could come out, do cause a couple of problems.
EmilZy takes a good bit of poke there from BigManTingz, but in the end is going to be all right with it. Stun off the mark, but not going to be the stun. Actually catches the dash from BigManTingz, but there's no immediate follow-up.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe Adapting, he's going to clear out a ward there, but Adapting is still hovering. You saw the pings go down, because with BigMan's dash being down, NRG saw the dash. So that's an easy way to blink, engage, try and burn the beats. You could look for that play.
maniaKK has recovered some pressure over here on Nika. Look at that tier 1 tower. It has been heavily pushed down, and Nika can't even safely back or
no
be
TP.
taken.
No TP as well on Nika, which means he's going to lose this whole wave to tower, and probably the tower before he can even get back to help. Meanwhile, NRG are pressuring mid, which means there's no relief for that right-hand side.
Yeah, there's no one that can rotate over there to help that tier 1. It crumbles, and NRG, they don't even really have to get this tier 1 in mid. They have to force Mouse to defend it, and that's what they've done. Now, though, the rest of Mouse can kind of group up under here, have a full 3v3, which is going to look a little bit better for them as Cherryo blinks in and use the Fear No Evil. Already very low as emilitoo, but the response with the boar is going to force Mouse back.
Did get the beads out of emilitoo too after the stun and followed that up, I believe, from BigManTingz. So good little poke damage that came out, forcing NRG back. It just relieved the pressure. That's all kind of Mouse wanted to do there, and the blink engage really worked.
It was enough to stop NRG for the moment, but it's so difficult to stop them completely, as now they turn their attention towards this Pyromancer. maniaKK going to be the front line here. Drops the ultimate in an attempt to pull, but actually gets pulled himself right back into the team. He's still half health with that Terra's Blessing. He's going to be able to walk right out of there. Yammyn's in the front, but Adapting goes to the back line, forces the Aegis to come out of BigManTingz, who does manage to escape.
Good escape from Mouse, but they will lose the Pyromancer.
Right.
NRG did exactly what they wanted to do there more than anything else. They wanted the Pyromancer. If they get kills on top of that, cool. Do they prevent Mouse getting to the Pyromancer? Yes. Job done.
That's it.
It's that simple.
And we're starting to see just how tanky maniaKK is here in this fight. He goes in looking for the Stygian Torment. Instead, Nika throws him to the wolves, and he just kind of walks back out.
Level 20, and then when that Terra's Blessing goes into play as well, that allows a lot of help. Because obviously she used that ultimate, you get sustain after you take so much damage, and dot damage from BigManTingz alone with the Agni passive will proc that every time, so we got a nice little easy heal.
Pyromancer going to be added on for NRG. About 22 minutes in now, they're going to have for themselves about a 5,000 gold lead, almost up to 6,000 at this point. Experience starting to climb back up in their favor as well at about 5,000, but the later we get, the experience not going to mean as much as the gold is, and they want to keep pushing that one up in their favor right now.
Well, now we've got through the first 20 minutes as well, Finch, and they're not too far behind. I mean, they're far enough that it's substantial, but it's not enough to break the game just yet. You have to look at what NRG's style is going to be in this game, because the problem is Mousesports is very good in the team fights with their composition. They're all about the 5v5 team fight. You can't get into a 5v5 team fight against Mousesports because you're going to have casualties. And the casualties probably will be your damage dealers. So what you're wanting to do as NRG here is look for picks, look for mistakes, look for people out of position, and make it a 4v5, make it a 3v5. You can't be having straight up 5v5 fights against this team.
Already pushing forward is EmilZy. Spirit Ball comes out, and they got the chunk with the Soul Reaver Frost along with the Soul Gem, but Cherryo returns the favor onto emilitoo with the Fear No Evil. 5v4 now in Mousesports' favor. Root lands on the maniaK, but they're not going back just yet.
Nope. I mean, NRG can't really do much without having the carry with them there.
Sure.
But when it's in a 5v5 fight, even if Jermain's not there, he's still going to impact because the fire shots came out too to make sure they secured that kill. That's what NRG have to be careful of, is Mouse will want to take a fight 5-on-5. If they can get the initiation off first, they could be in a better spot.
And they've got the composition to have a strong 5v5, and we got to see it be used there. Tier 1 tower in mid is very low. NRG wouldn't need to hit but maybe 1 or 2 autos on it to really bring that one down, as the Gold Fury's back up as well.
That's why I think it was a really impressive play from Mousesports there, Finch, because they defended that Tier 1 tower. They didn't have to.
Yeah, they could have just let that one drop, but Nika is going to keep going in. Takes a good bit of poke, but it's maniaK that they lock down for the moment. He is going to be okay. Spirit Ball hits over the wall again. Yammyn has been great with those all game long, but NRG are just backing up to their own jungle now.
I do love what Dardez has built as well, though. Went Sovereignty to make sure he could weather the storm, give his team some physical protection. Very important against the Serqet and, of course, the Artemis. But then into the Anseal, or the Ancile, or the Anchile, or the Anchile, whatever you want to call it. That silence, because he can jump to the back line, he can get in Yammyn's face. And not just that, he's going to be taking poke from maniaKs. If you can deny maniaK casting abilities, that's going to make a big impact too. That silence AoE going to cause a lot of problems this game, and you have to play around it.
Gold Fury has been pulled. emilitoo is back up, and he is here to help out as Adapting goes in forward. They drop down the Circle of Protection. That all but guarantees them the Gold Fury, but the damage onto Adapting with the Fire Charge is huge. He's half health, but instead they're going to pull in a couple more members as Nika. Spirit Ball doesn't land on the mark and continue to push forward his maniaK. But on the backside, Cherryo has the Fear No Evil. That keeps emilZy at least further out of the team fight as very low is Adapting, and he's forced to leave.
Yeah, best fight so far. Spirit Ball hits Dardez, but he's tanky enough. Look at maniaK though, he went for Tingz. Tingz is going to fall down, I feel here. If he's not careful, he will. But they did trade it out 1-for-1.
Yeah, emilitoo has already fallen, and maniaK might not be far behind him. Jermain finds himself a double kill. Cherryo continues to push onto Adapting, who's able to jump over the wall. But Mouse are not done with this one yet. The Gold Fury might be down, but they've gotten 2 kills in response.
Cherryo. Can he get the kill though? He needs to leap in low on mana is the real issue. Could have leapt in with his somersault, Cherryo, to try and find that kill on Adapting. I like the call to not do that though. I prefer him living and not trying to make the MLG highlight reel play. Just focus on what's important, like these towers, which they're not going to do.
Yeah, for me, Graham, that the damage they got on Adapting early on that fight was big. He couldn't stay in the backline as long as he normally likes to and try and disrupt the backside of Mousesports. He was like half health right when the Gold Fury first went down, and you saw him repeatedly kind of go in and come right back out before he could really get his kit off.
5-on-5 fight again. Notice how it's every time it's a 5-on-5 fight, that's where NRG are really going to struggle. They nearly picked off Tingz quickly, but he got away. When Tingz came back to the fight to continue it for Mouse, that's where Tingz fell. But it did cause the knock-on effect of finding maniaK and finding resulting overall small win for Mouse there. Let's just put it that way.
And they need the 5-on-5 fight. You talked about it earlier. Dardez is really not trying to peel for his backline right now. They're kind of trusting Jermain and Tingz to be able to get out of there on their safe gods. When Nika's there, though, that does give them that extra little bit of help that they'd be missing without that normal Guardian. So the 5-on-5 even helps keep their backline alive a little bit better.
Well, response from Mouse now is to go to mid lane as well to try and answer back that tier 1 tower themselves. Not going to be able to do it just yet, though. Adapting could play over the wall. He was looking at it for a second, but no blink means it's a lot harder than that.
It'll be back available in about 15 seconds. He'll just have to wait before he wants to jump in. The objective, though, despite the team fight going Mouse's way by 1 kill, the objective still went to NRG in that last fight, Graham. NRG only gave up 1 more kill than they traded away, so really, you got to feel like that's still in NRG's favor.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And now they come to the Pyro.
And like I said, 100%, like, yeah, fine, they got the kills and they won the team fight technically, but they still lost the objectives, and Objectives are where you win the game. Kills don't win you the game. It's actually the objectives. The kills just help you get the objectives.
Cherryo's not here as the Pyromancer has already been taken. emilitoo blows up Nika before the fight can even really get started. Dardez now is on the run, but is slowed and forced to use the Mystic Rush to escape. Cherryo blinks in, Circle of Protection in response. Not going to be able to find anything with that ultimate as maniaKK continues his own way 3 members and even looks for the kill.
He just needs some support, BigManTingz, but notice that fight was not a 5-on-5, Finch. That was 2 members of Mouse going to contest. The rest of the team weren't there. NRG pick them apart, NRG win the fight.
They do. They're able to win that fight easily as emilitoo on the backside finds Cherryo. Another 50-second timeout for him. Jermain and Dardez.
Fire Giant started.
Yeah, the Fire Giant's going. It's not even just started. It's almost done. There's no one who can come contest this one. NRG are going to take that Fire Giant without any real problems. On the back of a team fight they won on starting the Pyromancer and Mouse not being able to commit as a full unit.
NRG just had to wait for the right moment, find the right opportunity. Are they getting the objectives? Yes. But what are they doing after the fact? The moment they get an objective, they're looking to try and win bigger if they can. They know for a fact that if they lose lives, they'll at least go neutral, but getting objectives are like, okay, it doesn't feel so bad. But that situation is, they get the pyro, they get the kills. What can we get next? Well, you know what? The Fire Giant's here, so hey, a tier 2 tower as well. That's how the best teams in the world play. They'll look to make sure they at least go even in every trade. If they can get more, they'll get it.
And they've done a great job of that so far, has NRG. That time, though, Mouse just didn't, they weren't in position to try and start up. Cherryo was way back behind the tier 2 tower, and Dardez goes in by himself to check out along with Nika. They get blown up too quickly, and that, you're right, that's the broken up, fragmented fight that NRG wants to take, as opposed to the sort of clustered 5v5 that Mouse wants, and that they actually look a little better at.
See, I do like the duel in the Mousesports in terms of, they were calling the Bruce Brothers for a long time ago, because they like to fight and they're very aggressive. Sure, putting Dardez on a non-Guardian every single game, it does sound fun and spicy, and it kind of throws a wrench in the works of the other team, because you're like, have we really played against a Ravana support recently? Have we played against a Nox support recently? What's the harm in putting Jermain and Dardez on an actual duo lane? These two together are one of the most dangerous duo lanes in Europe at trying to fight straight up 2v2. Why not give them a straight 2v2 fight? You don't always need to go with these unusual picks to make it work. I think they can take on emilZy and emilitoo in a straight-up fight if they went for true Hunter Guardian dynamic.
I kind of thought this was going to be the meta that favored them.
Exactly.
Sort of like how Jeff Barra, you were like, oh, they're back together again. It feels a little bit like that for Jermain Dardez, as already the Phoenix is being sieged. Terra's Blessing has come out. emilZy is ready to go. The slow is on Jermain on the backside, whereas already Nika's incredibly low and forced to jump away. Agni bombs are strong to force them out, and Cherryo, I think he wanted to get the blink off, Graham.
Yeah, I think he got in combat there just a second had a little bit too early. This Phoenix is getting whittled down slowly by emilitoo.
No one's on emilitoo.
Should fall soon.
He's just going to be able to take down this Phoenix without any real problems. Doesn't have to worry about the fear no evil.
No.
Mystic Rush comes out from Dardez. He jumps in, but on the backside, adapting, is able to find Cherryo very low and jumps in on him. That's all the space they need. They resurge, and the Phoenix ends up being destroyed.
Watch that Phoenix back. When you go home and you watch this game afterwards, just watch this fight back at how well NRG dance in and out. This fight is bad, though.
emilZy is going to fall, and Dardez is the one that gets that done. emilitoo, though, finds Cherryo. Yammyn very low. Nika gets that one, too. maniaKK is also in a lot of trouble. The hands come out from Dardez. It's just not enough damage. BigManTingz finds emilitoo. 3 members of NRG go down for the Phoenix.
And that's where the mistake, like the Phoenix fight itself was beautiful from NRG. In and out, juggled the aggro, just taking off. They're going to re-aggress. Let's back out again. Go back in and kill him. They get the Phoenix, but then the fight afterwards, I don't think they needed it. I think they were trying to break the game there. We talked about it earlier. Get the objective, then try and find the extra. The extra was if we win this team fight, we can possibly crush the entire game here and now with Fire Giant round our waist. What ends up happening, they take a fight, they lose the fight by getting overly aggressive, and it's bought Mouse some time now to breathe and even get a Gold Fury here.
That was all it took, was this one brief moment where NRG lost the patience that they've been showing very well all game long. To me, it was just a bit maybe of that impatience from NRG, because if that is the call where they want to try and force that fight, maybe step back and regroup just for a moment, as already things are starting. Only maniaKK adapting here, and they're taking the 2v5, stunned out and forced to jump away. Is adapting, is continuing to aggress. Is maniaKK? He has to back away.
That wasn't really taking the 5 Finch. That was delaying the Gold Fury. That's what that game was. Hey, look at me. I'm adapted on a Serqet in the middle of nowhere with 5 people. And he's like, all right, I guess I'll jump in. I've got my Magi's cloak up. I'm also Serqet with a speed buff, which means I can rotate really quick with ambush and Deathbane to get away. Yeah. So why don't I try and buy some time and look like a clown to allow my team to respawn. Great idea. A lot of people won't realize it.
And they end up getting pulled back to defend. Remember that Phoenix was taken, so they got to defend those minions as well. So really adapting and maniaK only needed to create a few moments of time, and not just for their team to get back up, but before Mouse could afford to stick around any longer, and that's what they did.
But what Mouse should have done there, and they need to look back at that, is just do the gold. Like, stay on the gold Fury. NRG will still keep walking towards you, and then it'll be a 2v5 with all of you there at the gold. You could take the gold at that point. Realistically, I mean, maniaK and adapting stealing that one away is not something that should happen against the comp you've got with an Agni, for example, and the rest of the crew. They shouldn't be able to steal that gold. That is a free gold Fury that Mouse dropped there because NRG chose the right decision to bait them.
They are going to take the Pyromancer, and Fire Giant will be right behind it. He's about to come forth onto the map, and there's not really a way for Mouse to come out and try and defend this one. There's Phoenix and left-hand side's down. There's no tier 2 in the solo side either. Only the lone tier 2 in mid still standing. That's going to be a little bit more gold for NRG. They're going to break that one. Then the base is going to be open for them to go in and try and find those last few Phoenixes. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if they wait on this Phoenix on left to respawn and take that weakened one down, too.
Yeah, what you'll more than likely see is just allow those fire minions to just hold in left. I wouldn't even have players go over there to push that in, just wait, because there'll be a nice build-up of fire minions at the same time as you're probably going to get to the Phoenix in the mid or the right at the same time. So 2 Phoenixes under threat, much more dangerous. The minions should actually do the work for you. If you time it nicely, it works out well.
Last game, we saw Artemis kind of dip the toe into the crit build in the previous set. This time, no, this is all in from emilitoo. I mean, he's got the Deathbringer, Poison Star, Wind Demon. If he hits any of those carries from Mouse, they are going to blow up.
And we mentioned this, the reason crit's coming back is because there's not that many people going Nemeans and Thorns. You're not getting junglers going tanky builds. Right. You're not wanting to have to invest in Thorns. It's going to come back, just so you all know, before you all start panicking. People will start buying Thorns again and Nemean Lion to answer these crits. But as long as the hunters know that I can play around it, it's not the whole team with Thorns, it's not too bad.
Mid Phoenix is under siege, but Adapting's trying to be on the left Phoenix for the moment that it respawns to potentially get a hit on it. Not going to be able to, though. Cherryo comes out and forces him away, but just like you said, there's a fire minion wave there to push. Cherryo has to stay while the rest of the team has to try and defend in mid. They're going to miss this Fear No Evil.
And Adapting's just going to try and slowly pressure these minions in, because at the same time, there's not a whole lot Cherryo can do here apart from waste an ultimate to try and defend it. This Phoenix is gone.
Yeah, this is a big play from Adapting to be able to come over, take this Phoenix, and keep the pressure on. And the rest of NRG, here's that patience that elapsed for only a second. They're not going to overcommit. They want to keep the pressure here so Adapting can keep pushing in left. Now, when they're ready to regroup, they can start looking to go in.
But they're happy for Adapting to sit here anyway, because he wants to turn up to the fight late. Like, Adapting wants to turn up late going, oh, the beats
he
are down
wants
on
Mouse
this
to
dude?
forget about him, really.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, beats are down, blink, kill. That's kind of the game plan.
If there can be a moment where he can get lost in the team fight, that's the plan. maniaK stepped forward for a minute, but then stepped back. Wasn't ready to go in just yet, but they're happy to keep healing up between the Fire Giant and the Monolith.
But it's a hard siege, this, and they're going to have to rely on something to happen because Fog plus Noir minions plus Agni bombs, they've got a great defensive lineup here. Very easy to clear the wave, which means they're going to have to backdoor it like this.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the call. They want to try and push in. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a Yammyn Spirit Ball, Soul Gem, and he has the Soul Reaver. A bunch of damage, but going in as a maniaK doesn't find it with the Stygian Torment. The response from Mouse has been good with the damage from BigManTingz. EmilZy already very low. Spirit Ball doesn't quite hit, but now the blink in goes in from Adapting, and he's on the backside looking for Nika. Gonna go for a wild ride, but the poison's already spreading, and he falls.
He does get the kill thereafter, and the big point there is BigManTingz invested a lot, but only on EmilZy. EmilZy stepped forward to try and put pressure on, to try and force something, and it worked. They've not got the Phoenix, though, did they? The Phoenix is still alive.
Yeah, it's just very, very low, and I think NRG want to stick around for this one. Don't forget Fire Minions in left. That's going to continue to eat away at the Titan for Mouse. They got to focus that, too.
No, mid's more important right now. Don't worry about those minions in the back. Defend this mid. Don't give it up. They're going to give it up, though, because Cherry went to defend.
Yeah, they went back to go and defend, and the Phoenix gets taken. That's exactly what NRG wanted. Yep. They wanted Mouse to have to make that call, and as soon as they committed, they took it. Phoenix is down, and NRG can go ahead and get out of there.
Yeah, go back to exactly what happened in the fight, though. EmilZy front-lined, tanked up the tower, got some investment, basically. Some bombs drained down from BigManTingz. They were great damage in bombs, but it's on attack. End of the day, with a Fire Giant wrap around your waist and you're playing Terra, all right, yeah, hit me. As long as you're not hitting my carries, it means you're wasting abilities on me. So it allowed NRG then to go, okay, we can go aggressive. Let's look for a pick. Nika got half health. Adapting goes in, finds a kill.
And emilZy's willing to do that, not just because he's the Terra, but look at this itemization. He's even gotten with that Relic Dagger. He wants to be able to to have those abilities coming in and get the shells off as often as possible. The sprints as well. I mean, emilZy is ready to go in and try and bait some abilities out.
Yeah. The one thing about the NRG comp, though, that you would look at, and this is one of the reasons that they've not struggled this game, I'm going to say, but the reason it's slow towards the end of this one is because of how the comp kind of works. Their engage is very obvious.
Yeah, it's kind of slow and short range.
I'm Terra. I'm a run at you. I'm a dog. I'm a leap at you. If you avoid those two things, what else you got? Well, it's adapting blink. But do you really want an adapting blink to engage a fight? Unless someone's out of position, it's a very risky thing to do.
Well, that's why I'm saying that wild card in the fight is if Yammyn can find a spirit ball into someone that normally she wouldn't hit. I don't mean like Nika or Dardez, but I mean if Tingz ends up getting caught out or Cherryo, then they can follow up on that.
Exactly.
Has decided to go with the ethereal staff now over that soul gem. That is a little bit more still of that prop build we were talking about before, where it can be kind of a big amount of burst all at once, and that's one more wild card NRG can rely on.
I am impressed that Mouse think they're still in this game. That's the only thing I'm looking at here where I'm like, they feel they're in this game. Because honestly, game one, you can see some surrenders come through when this happens where you're like, okay, like this is a bad game. It's not worked out as we planned. With 2 Phoenixes down, the reason I'm saying like I'm so surprised it's still going because kind of probably maybe expected a surrender vote here. They still think they can fight this though.
Yeah.
They still feel they have the answers if they get one good team fight. And that's what some teams these seasons are playing like.
Yeah. They don't have the physical hunter, so their work's going to be a little bit harder. I've heard a lot, from some of these higher level players saying that they'd like Nuwa, though, because it's a little bit of extra to help tank up those tower shots, and it does make those sieges a little bit easier, but it's not going to be as strong as it would have been if they had someone in if they were to get to the point where they're making their counter push.
And I feel like what Mouse are doing here is like, hey, we win one big team fight, we can make a big play here.
Yeah.
Problem is, though, is like, yeah, respawns might be 40 seconds, 50 seconds, 60 seconds even. But all the towers are pretty much standing.
They are.
Like, the tier 2s are still up. They're still going to get to Phoenixes. They're going to need minions. I don't think they could end the game off one win here. One team fight through aced.
It's going to take a lot.
They managed to DS out the Hall of Energy. It's not enough.
Already going in is maniaKK. He's looking for the Stygian Torment. Does pull in a couple more members. emilZy's on the left-hand side rotating in, which means that the rest of NRG can bring the Phoenix down to half health. Going in as Dardez lands on side of a trap. And now they got the Circle of Protection on top of him as well. Meanwhile, adapting has to retreat back to his team.
He got aggro! No, he got aggro from the Phoenix, and that made a mistake for old adapting.
Fear no evil. Fear no evil's coming out from Cherryo, and he's able to find emilitoo. Spin to win is going to put maniaKK back underneath the tower as well, who's very low. Yammyn finds a kill, but Tingz is able to find maniaKK. Again, 3 members of NRG end up falling, and they got to back up.
Tingz looks so much better on a mage. That's all I'm going to have to say about this set so far. Like, he's putting work in.
emilZy still thinks they're going to win this. He's going in looking for the stuns, not going to be able to find any more damage though with Yammyn, and they're going to back up.
Okay, so no, it's exactly what I said. I'm like, I don't know why they're not surrendered yet because they're going to need 2 fights. They got 1. It wasn't as much as they wanted because they would have preferred everyone being dead. They could have got a tower, a couple of towers, maybe a Phoenix. Respawn times 40 seconds plus, right?
Yeah.
Problem is that they got to defend a couple more times now. That was the one mistake from NRG where maniaKK ended up just trying to force it, didn't work, and then got chaotic. But in the 5-on-5 fight against this team, been saying it since minute 1, Mouse have a very good 5-on-5 team.
Well, for me, the word continues to be patience from this NRG roster. When their seeds are deliberate and patient, then Mouse, they get baited out. They have to use abilities, they have to use relics, and NRG can win it. But when they overcommit, like we saw from maniaKK, and even emilZy, you see where they were? They kind of left the 3 backliners on the Phoenix by themselves, and they came way up past the line, and it just didn't work out. It's too much counter initiation from Mouse.
Different story if Adapting doesn't die there, and I don't believe that was really Adapting's fault. One of his teammates should have had aggro on that Phoenix, and they didn't. He came back into Phoenix range, and the Phoenix went, oh, hello, and just aggroed him. Took, I think it was 2 or 3 shots from that Phoenix that got him killed. That shouldn't have happened. If Adapting lives there, this could be still a different tale now.
Yeah, they might have had the chance to go back in, especially because emilZy and Yammyn, even by themselves, look like they kind of wanted to keep going in if they could have. So if they started adapting, I'm sure they would have been looking for more. But now they back up another minute until whoever still has the Fire Giant falls off. Then it'll be back up another minute after that, and they can grab that objective. Unless NRG are pushing, they might want to come down and start a fight without it.
2 weakened Phoenixes, Finch. I mean, why not? Like, you can still go and try and whittle down a weakened Phoenix, maybe catch somebody with the relics still on cooldown at the moment, which is exactly where Jermain is. His beads will be up in a minute, but, well, his beads will be up in a second, I should say, but his Aegis down for another minute.
And they do at least still have it on Yammyn and emilZy. That's some sustain, a little bit of extra damage that they will have.
Yeah, they're good to go.
In their corner, so they're definitely happy to keep pushing. But you're right, these Phoenixes are weakened. And NRG want to try and push one more time.
I want to see Adapting go left and just pressure again, but instead they're going to pick up Nika.
Pulling him right back into the circle of protection, and he gets blown up. Adapting is the one that gets credit for it. They end up having to back off, though, as the Fear No Evil that was already used, stunned, lands on Dardez. Now the rest of the damage can come falling in as well. Can't find Yammyn, despite the low health target. Stunned, deleted, Adapting. Finds yet another one. Now they can turn back towards mid.
I don't know where the rest of the team were. They were all so far back. Nobody was around to try and help Dardez out there in that situation whatsoever. The Nika combo that you just saw happen to Nika there is the perfect dream combo NRG have been looking for.
Yes.
Get maniaKK to land the ult, pull them into a circle of protection, into
too far
the
forward.
Serqet ult.
This might be too far forward for Jermain. He ends up getting stunned out. The rest of the damage isn't there, but now it is, and it's in the form of Adapting stun, or Aegis comes out to keep him alive, but emilitoo finds it, and Jermain falls. Tingz does get the return kill onto emilZy, but perhaps the least important member for this siege is emilZy. The rest of NRG can continue to push this Phoenix.
Yeah, that should be a Phoenix. Just got to juggle aggro, though, again. Agni's bombs just kill minions in one, which means you're not going to have a front line of minions to tank the tower, which means, or the Phoenix, it's going to be healthier, it's not going to take as much damage, and you have to tank it yourselves. This is the siege of Season 5 where teams have struggled because of situations like this. No minions, good defensive options.
That's why Nuan's valuable. You can kind of create your own. They don't eliminate the backdoor protections, but at least it'll draw the aggro for you so you don't have to have someone in your team tanking it. But that was, you're right, that was the initiation that they wanted, and this time, it didn't come so much from NRG's patience, though they did wait that time. Nika was just a hair too far forward, and maniaKK's able to pull him back in and get the fight they wanted.
But Mouse don't look terrible in this game one against NRG.
No.
They actually look better because, in my opinion, they've got that BigManTingz on a mage. I want to see Mouse just play straight up Smite. Don't go, and it is still straight up Smite what they're playing, just to clear that up. I just feel they don't need as much jank. They don't need to run Dardez on the wackiness all the time. Just go for a standard support. This team is solid on paper. Do you have to try and do these things? I think they'd be better without it.
Yeah, they look
good. It's good to throw it in now and again, but all the time.
They look good with BigManTingz here on the Agni, but I don't know how much credit that I want to give to this Mouse roster, because everything aside from the Phoenix sieges have gone pretty heavily in NRG's favor this game. So I think that their defense has looked great from Mouse, but yeah.
The reason I'm talking about Mouse in this light is because you could just talk about NRG all day, how they're just rolling teams time and time again. Looking great, making small mistakes, which every team will. It's generally, Smite is played to, whoever makes the most mistakes loses.
Yes.
That's actually how it really works. It's not about, well, you know, we've got a better team comp and we fight. It's actually, do you make a mistake with your team comp and you fight and your playstyle? So whoever makes the least mistakes. NRG been rolling people all year, and it's going to carry on by the way they're looking. But talking about Mouse improvements in the set against the team that is looking one of the most dangerous is a big thing.
And they do look better here, and I think that in this phase in particular they look better, and they would have been served better, I think, by a slightly more traditional comp even than this. Jermain on a physical hunter. Maybe it might not have. He might have fallen even further behind if he wasn't that ranged Nuwa. But at this point, they want the hunter.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, they actually do want the mage, I'd say, just because of the wave clear. Like,
yeah, it's helping a lot. Yeah.
Keeping the Phoenixes, you know, having to be tanked up is causing problems for NRG. Maybe this time round, though, NRG will make a couple of adjustments. I want to see emilZy go in first again. It seemed to work better when he did.
That's going to be the call. emilZy's the front line. Spirit Ball comes out one more time for Yammyn. 46 minutes into this one, NRG still having a hard time definitively breaking the base of Mouse.
That was a really good little stun out from maniaKK there using the Cerberus. Just to get rid of the cloak on Nika, making sure he doesn't have that means the CC chain's a little bit easier to connect if they want to go for the pick they did last time in the mid lane.
Still waiting on their opportunity to get those minion waves in. That clear, though, is so strong from this Mouse roster. Once those minions make it, they're really not going to be able to make it into the tower line for very long. Dardez is here. Cherryo's waiting on his chance to go into the back line with that Fear No Evil.
We talk about NRG's patience. Mouse needs it too. They can't just engage. They've got to wait for NRG to be the ones to go in.
And it is going to be maniaKK who goes in, looks at the Stygian Torment, only finds cooldowns, and he backs right back up. Go in, look for what you can get, then retreat again. Don't try and force and overcommit.
And with Nika's ult being on cooldown, it kind of means they've only got to worry about the Fear No Evil to force the beads out of NRG members. Keeping those beads alive is very important for those carries, specifically the likes of Artemis.
Now they can start stepping in a little bit more aggressively. Cherryo is waiting on a chance to try and move in, but NRG control quite a bit more space than they did a moment ago. emilZy has to back up, and some good damage goes on the Dardez.
But no, with no minions there, it's taken a long time to bring down a weakened Phoenix here. It's causing a couple of problems for NRG. No minions anywhere else really going to pressure. Maybe right-hand side, those minions for NRG will get a bit of Phoenix damage on. Someone will have to defend that eventually, but not just yet. You've got a bit more time. Just hold on. Hold on, Mouse.
Hold on and keep that patience. maniaKK, though, with that Breastplate of Valor, the Shoes of Focus, he's going to have his ultimate back up soon. Won't have the blink for another minute, but if he can still find that Stygian Torment by walking up, it can still be big. It's back available for him.
Yeah, it is back up already. That's the scary thing. How long this engagement's been going is standoff in the left-hand lane.
Now, waiting one more time, looking for a little bit of poke damage. That's one more thing that could go in Mouse's favor if they can find a little bit more poke, but with Yammyn, really the best poke he has is that Spirit Ball, so it's not as strong as maybe some other mages. As the stun lands this time onto Nika, followed up with a Spirit Ball, and it chunks. That's all they need to start moving in, trying to find some damage here is BigManTingz, but emilZy is going to force him to retreat. Stygian Torment does bring them right back in the circle of protection. Fire Charge goes up, but it's just not enough damage.
Yeah, fight's still going on though. Phoenix still stands, emilZy the one under pressure, but Dardez in the front line got bursted down by emilitoo. The ball ping-pongs around the battlefield, and the Spirit Ball connects with Tingz, cancels the dash. It's going to force him back. The window has been opened, Finch.
And now they're going to climb in. As Tom likes to say, if the window's open, is it really even breaking in as NRG finds their way into the base? Phoenix falls on the left-hand side. Now they can come over towards the mid Phoenix as well and start taking this as a 5-on-3. They still have BigManTingz, but they don't have Dardez or Jermain. What was helping out so much with their push before or defense was Jermain.
Mentioned it before, though. Mouse Esports comp is all about the 5-on-5. There's only 3 members. Can't do it. It's not going to work the same, unfortunately.
3 isn't 5. I agree with you, Graham, on that one. NRG now have the numbers advantage. Mid Phoenix is down, and they've got minions coming with them as well. Once they start taking that Titan aggro, they can start looking forward. Going in is maniaKK, holding BigManTingz is maniaKK. Circle of Protection is down on the ground as well. They do get stunned, but the big burst from Yammyn blows up Nika. Game 1 goes the way of NRG Esports in 49 minutes.
49 minutes, a lot longer than a lot of people would have expected. Obviously, composition-wise, Mouse Esports, I like what they put together. Great seeing BigManTingz. I've been saying it all the time. Great to see him on a mage. He made a bigger impact than what we've seen before.
And it looked good for him in that game. The defenses in particular, that was like, what, almost 30, 25 minutes or so of sieging that NRG was trying to do, and they just couldn't break the base. Eventually, though, they found it. And now, chat, I got to ask you, who was your MVP? Make sure, chat, please vote for us in the poll. And yeah, it's easy. Who is it?
That's not easy. I said.
Oh, not easy.
If anyone,
I agree.
I'd say the shot caller, but I don't know who was shot calling that game.
Yeah, it's not going to be an easy one, chat, but I trust y'all to be able to figure that one out. Let's go ahead and get over to the desk, though. Let Tom and Tolly break it down.
Thanks a lot, boys. And yeah, this one was a little bit longer than I think people had anticipated. Mouse put up a fantastic defense, but little to no offense.
That's right. BigManTingz on the Agni, showing his stuff on the mid-mage. No longer playing the Odin as of a couple of games ago, but NRG coming out on top there. And I think I got to give a lot of credit to where credit is due, where the confidence came for emilitoo to pick this Artemis, and luckily for him, didn't have to worry about a single Thorns.
Yeah, not at all. No Thorn itemization coming out. And one interesting thing about the post stats is that Mouse actually had more team damage than NRG.
I mean, that's just coming into the new honestly, for Jermain. Like, let's be real. His top of the player damage was actually right next to BigManTingz, I think, at the top of the player damage. So just goes to show this double magical composition really works out a lot because it's easier to itemize against physical than it is magical.
Especially, yeah, you've got all those options, the Nemeans, etc. But right now it was one option for NRG that led the charge, and it was adapting. He's going to be your MVP. Fantastic slash line over there. Just good stuff coming out from adapting. Once again, I feel like I don't even have to say this anymore. I mean, adapting found some struggles in Season 4, but nobody remembers that. Just looking like the adapting of just a long time ago.
Serqet is going to be available for him, and he's going to take it every single time, no hesitation. So NRG with game number 1 under their belt and a dominating performance by honestly everybody, I think should have a lot of confidence going into game number 2. But if I'm Mousesports, I'm still not down out quite yet. That was a long game. They battled into it. I think it was one slight misstep around that 28-minute Pyromancer when they weren't all there to defend it against NRG, and things started slipping around the corner because maniaKK was just being an absolute nuisance in the backline with his Cerberus.
One of the things that I didn't like from Mouse that I want to see change is the new on Jermain. You mentioned that the double magical works and for good reason. I'm fine with Jermain playing something weird, but the Nuwa he did not look strong on it. He started the game 0-3-2 just with a couple of ultimates. Not my favorite. I prefer him on the traditional hunter.
I agree with you because I just don't feel like it's his identity.
Yeah.
Right? He wants to be aggressive, and Nuwa is not one of these aggressive gods in the early to mid game. She needs a couple of items to get online, and then she's going to be that goddess that waits in the backline for setup. She can't force the issue like Aram can.
Let's hit up.